And greetings, beloved rose hearts. I, known to you as the goddess of music, offer to you this day blessings of the most exquisite harmonies. Harmonies that are aligned with the greatest powers of our universe. The prophet Daniel has allowed me into his space to be with you this day. He only asks that I reinforce with you the understanding that many of the prophecies of old have been averted, especially those ones that speak of great difficulty. And that has occurred because there are many like you today upon the earth. And in your studies of the higher knowledge, the teachings of the tree of life, you have opened yourselves, your lives, your consciousness, in which those of us that make up your spiritual hierarchy may work through each of you and deliver the greater powers, the purity, the peace, and the harmony that life requires to continue to exist upon this planet. It is the degree of the sacred fire and all its power and all means the tremendous light rays, electronic and magnetic, can be carried throughout interstellar space and then into systems of worlds, whole galaxies. A means is provided that ensures the greater powers, the greater light, the greater love from the very source of our universe, the central sun, travels throughout the universe, touches stars, planets, constellations, and the life that exists within each system of worlds. The means that the greater powers of life network and travel and merge, connect into all living life throughout the universe, is that universal network that I, the goddess of music, and those who work with me oversee in the term that you have heard in your study, the music of the higher spheres. And this music, to be a living conductor of the great universal powers, must always have three fundamental activities of divine love in constant motion. Those activities: purity, peace, and harmony. It is the motion of these universal qualities of divine love that is streamed into music that the angels of the music of the higher spheres create. This allows the finer, most exquisite fabric and harmonies of perfection to touch all life, to fill all life with the very essence of light and love as the very fabric of evolution, whether that be an evolution of beings such as yourselves, the evolution of a star, a planet, or a system that comes together and works together, evolves together, such as your solar system. In your solar system, Earth has been delayed in its evolution, as well as its peoples. Yet, your other planets have continued in their evolution, and all life exists on those planets in the fifth and greater dimensions. Yet, from Jupiter, Saturn, down to Earth and Venus, upon the ascension of all planets, there is a future day in which your physical sun ascends itself into the next frequency, and in its next frequency raises the entire solar system and all life upon it. This event has been delayed, for only when all dimensional realities of every planet and all species and all God's kingdoms and creatures are raised equally, can then a spectacular event, again, the ascension of the main star, the physical sun, and then the reascension, if you will, of the entire solar system. This prepares the solar system and the family of planets and the beings that live upon each family to come together in a community in which the community of species and beings collectively can make decisions for the whole, even decisions in which an entire solar system can be raised, transported, and moved throughout the cosmos, relocating, if that solar system so desires, to come under a great cosmic influence of a mighty constellation. The means in which all of these activities are achieved, the forces that are used, even the flower of life blueprint that you have discovered is all throughout interstellar space. And within that flower of life blueprint are electronic lines of force, magnetic lines of force. And in each conjoining point, a keynote of the music of the higher spheres that allows the even flow of the powers of our universe, like tracks, to pass through interstellar space, many of which are tracks that are used along with the music of the higher spheres to move entire systems of worlds. The idea in this small reflection is to encourage you to say to yourself, then how much more could the music of the higher spheres do for me if I align my life with the music of the higher spheres, which exists in every dimension, even your surface dimension on the surface of your planet, your third dimension. For it is the music of the higher spheres that is the cohesive activity that holds and bonds all life together. It is the music of the higher spheres that once you become the living I Am presence in physical form, allows you to use the lines of force, universal, that make up the music of the higher spheres, for you to communicate directly across the universe into the great central sun itself. Like all things that have origins seated in ideas of creative perfection, so too music, its origins are held in creative seeds, sparks of perfection. If a race of beings so chooses to cover those things over for a while and to listen to the kinds of music that does not have that finer lacing, the finer lacing of the music of the higher spheres is that music. It is soul music that assists in the resurrection, lifting you and raising you into a higher plateau. Plateaus are uniquely different than consciousness. Plateaus can be understood as planes of existence held together by the music of the higher spheres. In your third dimensional reality, whereby your studies and efforts, your awakening and your choice to become the I Am presence on the earth, it is the role of the music of the higher spheres that is everywhere. It is the role, one of the roles, of the music of the higher spheres that is not only in your atmosphere, but through the networking of the flower of life blueprint. Yes, passes through your atmosphere, passes through all substance, all manifestation, passes through the physical planet and all life that grows upon this planet. Because the music of the higher spheres layers itself, it can be understood harmoniously as plateaus that offers consciousness that has an eye behind that consciousness to climb. And every time that eye of consciousness climbs, evolves, there is a plateau that is ready for that higher consciousness to function and express itself. As each of you in your resurrection, as your consciousness climbs, evolves, expands, and begins to reach higher plateaus that are maintained by the music of the higher spheres. The key notes that form the platform, the base of each plateau, are like musical notes that are hanging there, in which, as your consciousness, through study, through prayer, through meditation, through decree, through the power of attention upon your presence, in each of these delicate moments of beingness. And let me also include those delicate moments of beingness can be a creative spark that has found an opening within you, and creativity is flowing. Whether it is a book that you are writing, something that you are sculpting, music that you are bringing through, when you have had the ability to make yourself a conduit, an instrument where creativity is expressing through you, your consciousness is stretching. It is like a web, and it is stretching and expanding. It is climbing. As it does so, it senses the next plateaus of energy that are right here in your third dimensional reality. Those next plateaus are maintained by keynotes of the music of the higher spheres. In a moment of illumination, in a moment of adoration, a moment of divination, a moment of creativity, these moments where life is stirring through you. What is going on in the deep fabric of your consciousness is that your consciousness is stretching. It's climbing. It's soaring like a web. And it's reaching up. And the moment in its climb that it senses keynote signatures, it senses the finer music of another sphere within your own dimensional reality. That finer moment is actually, those finer music is actually held in what you know as those who understand the ability to write music and write keynotes and a staff, etc. Every plateau within every dimensional reality is held together by the finer activity of the music of the higher spheres. In spiritual moments, in moments of right use of your attention, in moments of meditation, inspiration, adoration, creativity, your consciousness in those moments is expanding. It is climbing and it is reaching like a web. And when it senses those notes that are just hanging there, that are forming the base of the next plateau, your consciousness as a web connects with those notes, hangs on to them. And then the motion is set for all future moments that you will enter into adoration, creativity, inspiration, meditation through the power of your attention. Your consciousness is already ahead of you. It is already reaching up to the music of the higher spheres that holds the next plateau of life. And therefore, music is a very friendly service to each of you. And yet, you do not afford yourself the elegance, the beneficence, the luxury of what music can do for you if while you're listening to beautiful music, inspiring music, and I have a feeling you're going to be doing so in a few moments. And when you do so, precious hearts, no thought in your mind. Let your mind be pure. If you're thinking while you're listening to inspiring music that is set to move you, remember what I said. In those kind of moments, your consciousness ought to be soaring to the next plateau. And in the next plateau are those keynotes that hold the music of the higher sphere and holds that plateau in place. And if your consciousness for a moment can reach up as a web and hang on those keynotes, it holds your consciousness up there. And then your consciousness, as it's lived through your life, gets raised and pulled up. Do you understand? In this, if you are thinking while you're listening to beautiful music, that thinking pulls your consciousness back and does not allow it to soar. And therefore, I, the goddess of music, encourage each of you. It is a gift that Master Paul joins you in these conclaves and allows two conclave portraits to come forth. Whether each of you experience and open yourself to the blessing that portrait can be, not only now, that portrait can be the reaching, the climb of your consciousness. Your consciousness reaches up. It connects and it takes hold and it hangs on keynotes that make up the music of the next sphere. Then as you go forth into your daily life, that consciousness that is reaching up will seek to pull you, because your consciousness is within your body as well. It will seek to pull you up to that place. And in this, you have the most beautiful climb of life. I pray that this little review of that mighty activity that is my service to life, guardian of the music of the higher spheres, may serve you. I thank you.